Okay, today we are going to talk about replacing the alternator on a Mercedes W220, and more specifically, replacing the alternator on a facelift version, which I think makes a little bit of a difference. The first thing I want to tell you is I found that taking the fan, partially uninstalling the fan, is a good idea. And if you look at it, there's only a top screw here and a top screw here, and then down below is two more screws that are Torx 25s on either end along the bottom, and that's it. There's no hoses. There is an electrical connector that's pretty easy to unplug. You can see the unplugged electrical connector, but other than that, you're good to go. I found that I only needed to uninstall it partially. The problem is that you hit, but anyway, we don't have to talk about that, but I found that that was enormously helpful. Now, I did not film the process of getting the alternator in and out. As you can see, I've got the alternator in, but I've got a really bad problem. I'm trying to get in right there. Okay, so we can see that this here sticks out a little bit, and that's fatal. Now this thing moves back and forth, and the problem is that when they tighten it at the factory, it pushes in and pushes out here. But there's not enough clearance to get the damn alternator in on this if this thing is extended. So we have to make sure that we get this pushed back flush so that you can get the alternator in. Now this thing is stuck, really hard to do. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now I've seen other YouTube videos where they try to do it and they use big crowbars and they bash on it and they use channel locks and oh boy, none of that worked for me. I'm going to show you how I do it. And this also turns out after I figured out how to do it, I saw that Kent Bergsma also recommends it. So let's see if I can figure that one out, okay? Let me load that up. Okay, so here's my handy dandy design. So what we've got is, we've got a bolt that goes all the way through. We've got a washer. We've got an 18 millimeter socket. Any size would work around that size. And what that's going to allow is going to allow that little cylinder to move inside here. Okay, so this isn't going to block it, so it's big enough that this thing can move in. There's a gap here. Then I put a washer and a bolt on the end here, and as I tighten this, the bolt is going to push this flush as it gets tighter, and this thing is going to force it in, and this thing is going to allow the shaft, the sleeve, to come into this gap. So I'm going to put a wrench here and a socket there. I used... The bolt that I did is, I don't know, about 1.5 inches long. It's too short. I should have got a longer one. Also, it's a 1/2 inch head on the bolt. That seems to be a good size. What I would recommend is you take your old bolt, take the actual alternator holding bolt that goes through that hole, and get something around that size. Take that down to the hardware store and get yourself another one that's with a diameter of the actual shaft. And make sure that that's about the same. Okay, here goes. I'm going to give it a shot. And there it is after I tightened it down. And you can see the actual wrench, the 1/2 inch wrench that is locked against the block. But you can see that it's come down pretty flush on that on this inner side right here. You can see it just snugged down. Okay, now I'm going to reverse the bolt, take it out, and go see if I won. Okay, and by the way, it went pretty easy. I mean, I didn't have to fight it. It was remarkably easy to move once you had that amount of torque on it. And voila, absolute success. You can see it's all sticking out on the right and it's flush on the left. Nice. Now I got to go do the bottom one. But that was really easy to do. I didn't have to put a whole lot of torque on it. And you can see here, there is quite a gap. Gosh, I don't know. You could fit 5-10 sheets of paper in between there once the alternator's in. you can see that it's a pretty easy fit once you get that collar back out of the way. Now here's a shot of the bolt almost done. It's not tight yet. You can see the sleeve is still out, and you're going to see that that sleeve is going to go in, and it's going to take up the space on the left between the alternator and the bracket. So it's going to squeeze down that collar, that sleeve. But I want to show you the sleeve before it slides back into position. Okay. I guess this would be the final shot. You can see how the sleeve is moved in quite a bit, and you can see the sleeve poke on the right, and on the left you can see how it's poking out to make contact with the alternator. So pretty interesting design. By the way, I came up with this idea myself. I thought it was a genius until I saw that Kent Bergsma was also recommending it. He didn't show you how to use it, but he did say this is a great way to do it. So once again, hats off to Kent Bergsma. He's a genius. He's our hero. And MercedesSource.com. If you want to know anything about Benzes, he's the expert. 50% of what I know I got from him. Anyway, there we go. That's the end. That's the last shot. Okay, bye.